round table, we saw the need to work together, yes, and you have just listened to our three friends from Greece, Spain, and France about all the necessary transformation of your companies. Now, close up on CSR transition. You're going to tell us what you did, what are your best practice, cross-use on sustainable supply chains. Here is Aimé Frédéric Rosenzweig, Camille de Marquilly, Ramon Garcia et Romeo Dumetriu. Please.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, buenas tardes, Camille, mon ami Frédéric. Romeo Dumitrou, Logistic Director at LB Electric, Vice President of Arilog. It's a Romanian association. He's from Romania. Ramon Garcia, GM of the CEL. It's a Spanish association. VP of the Innovation Cluster for Sustainable Delivery of Freight in your company. And two French guys, Camille de Marquilly, VP Global Supply Chain Engineering at Michelin. You know everybody, Michelin, a very well-known company in France, in the world. And Aimé Frédéric Rosenzweig, Supply Chain Expert Leader at Renault Group in the car industry too. Okay. So, first of all, when you talk about CSR, energy questions. Yes, a year ago, you remember, we were wondering how companies will spend a winter because the war in Ukraine. Certainly, now we are talking less about the energy crisis, but even we have to remain vigilant. What concrete solutions have you put in place in your own country, your own company, to decarbonate supply chain? First of you, maybe Dimitriu.
Okay.
Romeo,
I wanted to sit
Dumitrou.
here to be the last one to be asked, but okay. Yes. Maybe the main option that we are using in Romania in this moment is for the last mile deliveries. A lot of fast courier companies started to use only electrical vehicles. The infrastructure of charging doesn't allow us to use more than last mile the electrical vehicles, unfortunately. Of course, again, we are talking about the efficiency of loading, not only the means of transportation, but also the efficiency of loading. But this is a long discussion regarding also the concept of being efficient in a new world. Yeah.
Ramon, tell us what your best practice are in Spain about decarbonization, how to decarbonize supply chain. What did you do?
Bonsoir to Tom. Okay, I think previously to answer your question, I think we have to. I want to share with you with several ideas for create a rationale behind that. I think the first thing is the most sustainable is that you don't do unnecessarily. This is very important. The second issue is if you want to decarbonize, you have to have a holistic approach. Because I think the majority of the solutions that we are trying to look for, mainly in the urban distribution, are very focused on the transport, not in the logistics. I think we have to create new distribution models, best organized, best use of the resources, focus on the collaboration of the companies that are working on that. And in this case, right now we are working mainly in our organization. We have heard a lot of what to do, and we are working on how to do. how to do. And we are working with the companies together in how to make all of these rational ideas that I have shared with you, we can put in practice for a more sustainable and more decarbonized transport in the cities.
How to do it? It's not always easy, Ramon. How do you work with other partners, for example, other companies, startups? How do you do?
In our case, we are today I'm representing two organizations. One of them is cell, that is the Spanish Logistics Association. But we have a specific organization that is an innovation cluster, and in which one we manage the ecosystem around all the actors that have to create this new solution or co-create. And this ecosystem belongs administration, companies, logistics companies, and also technology companies, and all of them work together, not in the classic way that we have a solution looking for a problem. Our approach is we have problems, we have together to get the solution. And in this case, we are recognized at Spanish level as innovation cluster, and we present to the Spanish government our projects, and if we work, they fund us to put it in practice.
Camille, Aimé Frédéric, you work in a lab. You remember what Jan said about lab to share experiences. What did you do about decarbonization of supply chain, for example? Tell us first, Camille, from Michelin.
So for the decarbonation, we have a clear strategy. Carry less, carry better, carry differently. If we take some example for carrying less, the best transport is a transport you don't need to organize. So when we have a strategy to relocate our factories close to the markets, of course this is a long-term approach, but we see already that we start to reduce the ratio of products that are crossing an ocean before to find a customer. We have as well some quick wins when we organize direct factory shipment to deliver a customer directly from a factory. You do about the same number of kilometers, but you save the energy and the time for the warehousing. This is an example. Just another example, before to give the mic to Aimé Frédéric. When we say carry better, we promote the multimodal transportation. And for example, in Clermont-Ferrand, we have now a new multimodal platform, and we send a lot of containers to Le Havre or to Fos-sur-Mer by train. Doing that, we save a lot of CO2 emission.
Aimé Frédéric, other examples, for example, for you in Renault?
Yes, just to continue on the example which were mentioned, we have tried and we have implemented a lot of transportation routes via trains, moving from diesel to trains, or moving from diesel to electric trucks. We really feel it's very important to start to do these conversions, because we have very impressive challenges to decarbonize, to achieve minus 30% of CO2 emissions for our supply chain in 2030 versus 2018. So we are really moving ahead using new modes and using also energy which are better for the planet. But I think also today we are a big event where we meet all our colleagues from Europe, and I think it's also time to say we spoke about the manifesto, to share the best practice between us, and I think tomorrow it's something we can try to do together in order to go further on sustainability.
Do you think everybody is that we could use more and more bicycle transport, sailing transport? What is your opinion,
Well,
Romeo?
I would go a little bit in continuation of what you said. I think that the main problem is the change of the pattern of our thinking in terms of what means efficiency. Okay, what Jan said a little bit earlier, and not only him, he was also our friend, the Italian friend, with such a beautiful presentation. We have to think on a little bit slower supply chain, which doesn't really mean it's less efficient, depending on how you define the efficiency. And I will give you an example. Let's take pharma, for instance. Yeah. Compared with other, I will speak now from Romanian perspective. Compared with other countries, because I faced a situation in which I needed a medicine in Austria, for instance. In Bucharest, you have around 3 deliveries per day to each pharmacy, okay? Which means half truck load, the most of it. I mean, it's top, fast. Okay, what kind of illness do you have to go to a pharmacy that cannot wait for the next day? To a pharmacy, not to a hospital. So if you are using, you said it's more than transportation. I agree with you, but the truth is that transportation is creating the most part of the carbon the carbonization. Okay, so what if we are delivering every 2 days instead of 1 day with a more efficient payload? More efficient payload, which means lower cost, lower efficiency, and the problem that I see here is not the actual assessment of the efficiency, but to change the culture in which the market already is living. Because now everybody of us is going to the market and say, I want this and I want it now. And it's a change in culture, a change of the pattern of thinking. And I think that we can approach from different angles, but we have to approach also this cultural thing. Okay? That's my opinion.
What are the main difficulties, according to you, when we talk about sustainability, about decarbonation? For example, Ramon, you have just listened to Romeo about culture. There is another problem. It's financing the decarbonation. It's massive. So how can we do? Because that's the question you asked a couple of minutes ago. How can we do? What are the main difficulties?
First of all, one point. I insist that the problem is not a transport problem because the transport is the carrier, just the carrier. As well as I said, the problem is a holistic problem. If you want to decarbonize, you have to organize better all your supply chain. And we are transporting a lot of air right now. And it's most effective to organize better the supply chain than doing it in an electric vehicle. And this is the rationale that I'm sharing with you. And then my point is we have to work and create new, mainly in the cities, new concepts of distribution that we can make the distribution more efficient. And we have to create all together, and we have to be agree with these new models. That is not not easy. The main difficulty that we have in this point probably is the lack of data, mainly in the cities. Practically any city knows what is happening every day in their cities. And then it's very difficult to identify what is the biggest problem that you have. They don't know the flows, who are carrying the freight, where, why. No, they don't know nothing, but they are putting regulation, they are putting rules, and they are blind when they are doing that. And I think the first thing that we have to work on is in all this data have to be shared, and we can be useful. We always have made a manifest. We are happy to announce also focus on urban logistics, and we are focusing four key points The first one is you need data. The second, that when you have the data, create the solutions, infrastructure, investment, regulation. The third point is we need to have a common awareness of all the participants in the supply chain of the impact of their decisions, not only the customer, all the partners. And the last point is co-create the solutions, because right now it's impossible to create by oneself any solution that is going to have any success in the medium term.
Camille, please.
Yes, I think we have two families of actions. First one is what we can do by ourselves. When you reduce the frequency of delivery, you can do it yourself. By the way, you save cost on inventory. So some actions are very good for CO2, but as well for cost. But sometimes when we think about circular economy, when we think about improving the multimodal infrastructure, we need to work together. And this is where the association is very important. And this is why the manifesto is so important, to make sure that we share the same dream and that we are going to make it happen.
Aimé Frédéric, is decarbonation is expensive, too expensive? For example, we know that to buy electric trucks is very expensive, 3 times than a diesel truck. How can we do? And what about rates after to the...
Yes, it's really expensive, but we do not compare the cost face to face. We speak about the cost of an electric truck versus a diesel truck, but we need to put also the costs that today with big vessel, we can't manage to go through the Panama Canal. And it's the other face of the same cost. So that's why at the beginning we look only at one cost and not at the global system. So we need to have a global point of view and to work in the global ecosystem. It's perhaps the only way to manage it smoothly. It's something we have raised also into the manifesto, to say that we need to implement new solutions into a collaborative ecosystem between suppliers, users, transporters, energy companies, and so on. This is the only way to decrease the cost and to make it smoothly. And we can do that also at the European level.
Romeo?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something here. Okay, what means it's expensive? It's expensive for whom? For this planet? Do we want to keep it or not? We go to the science fiction movies and think to find another planet? Okay, that's one point. The other point, okay, the electrical cars are a new technology. Every new technology at the beginning gets expensive.
Oh.
But in time, remember the mobile phones, how expensive they were?
Yeah, sure, but...
Okay, let's put apart the iPhone now, okay? But, and I'm an iPhone guy, but generally speaking, every new technology at the beginning is expensive. We have to think of what our Italian colleague said to the environmental and social governance. If we want to have a planet, we have to assume that. We really have to assume it. We have to rethink the concept of efficiency. We have to, yes, I agree with you. We go to the warehousing. For instance, now a lot of companies, including in Romania, are using collapsible boxes, yeah, in packaging, because it's cheaper to use only one or maximum 3 types of dimension of boxes, and you can collapse them depending on what you are packaging in it, and you're gaining space payload. Yeah, there are many things that you can do, but let's go away from this perspective, the old perspective of efficiency, which is coming from the pre-industrial era, yeah, when everything was about how cheap you can make it and how expensive you can sell it.
Ramon told about data, Camille or Aimé Frédéric. How is digital an accelerator? How can you use digital to decarbonize the freight or the supply chain generally?
I think...
please, Ramon, please,
no.
if you want.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. No, I think that the digitalization of the supply chain, I think, is a tool, but that we have a very good tool that we have to create this new scenario that Romain was talking about, because it's the way in we can share the data that allows us to planning better our operation, and we can have a more visibility through all the supply chain end-to-end. And it is very important to have the correct decision at the right time. And I think it's the key point we have to take in consideration about the digitalization. But we have to have clear what is our goals or our objectives when we are digitalizing something in the supply chain.
Camille.
Just on data. Data is a key enabler for the ecosystem, to build the ecosystem. If you want to share logistic routes between industrial and with 3PL, we need data. And for the circular economy, we need to track the product. We need to know where they are, who they need to be repaired, who they need to be shipped after the reparation. So data is absolutely key.
It's necessary, sure. Last item, because we talked about energy, about decarbonation. When we talk about sustainability, about CSR, don't forget, as I told when I did the introduction, human. Don't forget human. What can we do? What are you doing about human in your companies? Romeo.
Well, I can speak only for Romania, that there is a slow but steady change in the approach of how the people are perceived in terms of workers, no matter if it's blue collar or white collar. That's one point. The second point is that a lot of companies started to be very much involved in social projects. Social projects which are related not only with the environment, but also with education, with some health issues, with, let's say, more and more people with disabilities to be included, to make an inclusion of the people with disabilities to be part of the society and to be productive for the society, no matter in which field, doesn't matter that. Yes, it's... On the other hand, we are Latins, so we know that all the Latins are... We are all here, Latins actually, and we all care about the guys next to us. It's a cultural thing. And I think that we are no exception from that aspect. Yes, it's more and more present, that's clear. It's more and more present.
Ramon, which concrete solutions have you put in place about human, about people?
In our case, we are very, very worried about the situation with the drivers, the truck drivers. As well as you know, we have a very big problem, not only in Spain or Europe, because we have a very big lack of the drivers. The average age is over 50, and over the 70% of the current drivers are over 50, and there are no new generation taking this profession. And we have to do something because the sustainability of all the supply chain right now depends on the transport go on. And then we have created, with the support of 3 associations more in Spain, an initiative called Truck Friendly Movement, in which we are working to dignify the profession, to create safety parkings, to create, to promote that the industrial polygons have the facilities to the drivers to be there,
And for example, Ramon, Romeo, how to prevent accidents, for example, do you use virtual reality, exoskeleton?
Well, I just wanted to add something a little bit different from what Ramon said, that about your drivers over 50s and so on. And the new trend in Romania is to have more and more women truck drivers, which I personally applauded, and please, you should upload it also. It's more and more, they are more and more present, and there is a big difference, and most of us are drivers, you know. You know very well that the women are much more prudent and much more careful of the way they are driving. So that's one, it's half of the response to your question.
One of the barriers that we have, the facility right now are not prepared for the women's. When they stop, they don't have...
That's one problem. At least our women are not so fussy, okay? But on the other hand, the companies, since at least the transport companies, since the insurance started to grow and grow and grow and grow, they started to apply all kind of measures, not really with real virtual reality, because it's quite expensive for the Romanian transport company, but with the other different tests and trainings, coaching, and so on.
Always. Ramon, about accidents. How to prevent accidents?
In our case, we are only, as association, we are working in the awareness of that. We create events, or we are working with the companies to deliver them information about the systems of safety or security in the companies. And we have developed several plans in the last years to share with them the rules and these practices.
And to end, what about human in your French companies, Renault and Michelin? Aimé Frédéric.
Two things. One for Renault. So our objective is to make our colleagues proud and very proud to be a part of the supply chain community. And this starts with describing for them some career paths, just to help them to be developed and to develop themselves into the supply chain, to help them a lot on coaching and training so that they can be all the time up to date to the new technology, to the technical skills, but also to the soft skills. So this is for what we do at Renault. And just to mention also on accident, which was one of your questions, within France supply chain, we are working and we have worked and we have issued a pénibilité toolbook, because we think that prevention is a major factor to avoid accident. And one of the key questions in our jobs is to have a task which lower pénibility. So that's a key question and something we trust in.
For you, Camille?
I would have said exactly the same thing. We work on within Michelin on the fact that the people in supply chain and logistics are proud, and we see in the people engagement survey in the last 5 years that the progress is very significant. So it does work, and we work together on the pénibilité toolbook, and this toolbook is accessible on the website of France Supply Chain, and I think it is one of the most read page. So that does mean that we have a lot of members very interested and very sensible about the people side of the supply chain.
Okay, and read the manifesto. You see a French manifesto about circularity, about collaboration, how to carry better, less and better, as you say. Camille, thank you.